Switch warrants more money, better cost.
Keeping up
Lost that.
with the fountains. What was his name? The old guy that
2 years, there's been 60% turnover.
I think he's got a foundation set up for it or not.
I think we're.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm not all there.
You're there for me.
Okay, thank you.
That's your new logo.
Sort of.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for braving the weather this evening to come out. I have a great presentation for you from Steve Barry, editor of Railfan Railroad magazine, who's been a longtime presenter at Tri-State and a longtime friend of the organization. So we're happy to have you back here again, Steve, tonight, and we're looking forward to look at your night photography. Here's the talking stick. Down is to advance.
Down is to advance.
Yeah, and just make sure you're speaking into this.
Okay. All right. Thanks for having me here.
Good to see you.
Yeah. 2024 is actually the 50th anniversary of Railfan magazine. And we, as part of our celebration on that, we are working on a book that will be out this fall, Railfan After Dark. The bulk of it is going to consist of photographs from Railfan's 2 editors, myself and Jim Boyd, our night photography, but there will be a capsule history of night photography in there and other things. That's coming out in the fall. Our anniversary issue is the November issue. And yeah, I've also are going to be doing a Railfan event in November down on the Woodstown Central as part of our anniversary. So look out for information on that. So as part of working on that project, I went back and reviewed a lot of my night photography to see what I had for the book. And I thought, you know what, let me just assemble this into a show and present it to you folks here. So this is basically my journey through night photography. Like a lot of folks, my first exposure to night photography was at the group night photo sessions. My very first one was on the East Broadtop Railroad back in 1977, I believe it was, maybe 78. It was lit up by a guy named Dan Fink from Geneseo, New York. And back then it was all the big #2 flash bulbs, open flash where you had your camera open for 20 or 30 seconds while folks ran around one bulb at a time and popped off the flashes. My first Jim Boyd night photo session was up in Steamtown in Bellows Falls, Vermont, where we lit up a lot of the Canadian Pacific 462s. And some of the other motive power, including a dead steam locomotive, 2929, the Jubilee here, the 444, was not a functional locomotive, but steam was piped in from the adjacent live steam locomotive to produce steam out of the Jubilee. Jim was pretty famous for his night photo sessions down at the Cass Scenic Railroad. These were massive night photo sessions, 150 photographers. Now the flash bulbs were the big #2 flash bulbs. And even back in the 1970s, early 1980s, they were $2 a piece. They're be like $5 today per flash bulb. You needed 7 to 10 to a dozen or more to light up a scene. One way to defray the cost was to do it as a group night photo session. Everybody chips in some money and defrays the cost of the flash bulbs. The Cass sessions, like I said, had about 150 people attending them during the Cass Railfan weekend. They were massive sessions. My first NRHS night photo session was at the Washington, D.C. convention in 1979. Amtrak invited us into Washington Terminal, where they maintain their locomotives, Ivy City Engine Terminal, and lined up a massive lineup of 8 locomotives. Here we see 5 of them right here, all different. Also present was this E8 and, of course, GG1 4935 in its Pennsylvania paint. It was quite the night photo session. Another night photo session from that DC convention involved Royal Hudson 2839 and Southern Railway 280722. Continuing with night photo sessions at the NRHS conventions, this was from the Toronto convention in 1981. 80. At the Agincourt Engine Terminal in Toronto, a pair of CP's Alcos. And of course, one of the big ones was the famous Richmond Triple Crossing night photo session, which was as part of the, wasn't an official convention activity for the 83 convention, but Jim organized it, got both Norfolk Southern and CSX to cooperate and posed engines on all three levels of the famed Triple Crossing down in Richmond. And in 1985, the night photo session was at the excuse me, Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, where both 7002 and 1223, two of the Pennsy steam locomotives from the museum collection, which were at the time operating on the Strasburg Railroad, were posed for night photos. Back to Steamtown, but not in Vermont this time. This is a night photo session that Jim did as part of one of Steamtown's Railfan weekends up in Scranton, PA. Before the National Park Service came in, when it was still the Steamtown Foundation. No steam, a lot of diesels, Lackawanna Station off in the background there. And the 1986 Boston Convention featured this lineup. Green Mountain, Conrail, and Providence and Worcester all combining. Now, if you couldn't afford flash bulbs back in the old days with film and no flash bulbs, you had to rely on existing light to do night photos. This is a night photo I took on the very first night K4 1361 was returned to service, using just the existing light at the Altoona shop. Another existing light shot, this time in Port Jervis, New York. NJ Transit U-34s all lined up. And out in California, this is the Millbrae Station, south of San Francisco, near the airport. Once again, all existing light, camera mounted on a tripod. And back then with film, best guess. You had no idea if you got it right or not until you got the film back, the slides back, a week later. You just guess the exposure and hope it turned out. If it was a really good shot you wanted to get, you'd bracket and go through half a roll of film trying to get it. It was all guesswork. Educated guesswork at times, but still guesswork. And here we are at the Conklin Yard near Binghamton, New York, back when Susquehanna was running the Delaware and Hudson for a short period. Foggy, foggy night, just using the existing light in the yard. Eventually, I invested in a Graflex flash gun, which even they became a little bit expensive after 1978 or so, because the Graflex flash guns, the handles were the base of the lightsabers in the movie Star Wars. And Star Wars collectors started snapping them all up. I got a Graflex flash gun, invested in flash bulbs. This is a night photo I did of 2102 at Hamburg, Pennsylvania, middle of the night. Now, the other thing I had to worry about back then was with the long exposures, you couldn't leave the headlights on for the entire exposure. They just blow the shot out because the headlight was so much brighter than anything else. But I found the hostler and asked him if you'd mind flipping the headlight on and off for me when he saw the first flash I did. He said, sure. So I fired the first flash, headlight comes on, headlight goes off. I finished lighting up the scene, took about 20, 30 seconds. The flash bulbs, they worked most of the time. Sometimes they blew up in the flash gun. You had to reach in with, on the sharp glass and try to pry them out of the flash gun fast because you're working on the shot. You didn't want to waste all the bulbs you'd already shot off. You had to keep the shot going. You couldn't start over again without costing a lot of money. Sometimes you put the bulb in, especially on cold nights, you put the bulb in the flash gun, and the trigger would have stuck. because of the cold weather and the bulb would go off in your hand. That was not pleasant. Those things were hot. This shot here was done at Hyman, Pennsylvania, at the base of Sand Patch Grade. You see the Hyman Tower in the background there. Because we knew we'd be lighting up the engines here and would get the attention of the tower operator, we stopped into the tower first and told him what we wanted to do. He goes, yeah, sure. He says, go have fun. He says, when you're finished, come back up to the tower. We got some brand new hats and you can buy a hat. I said, okay. So off we went. We did our shots of the helpers. And as we were finishing up, this high rail pulls up. I thought, uh-oh. And sure enough, inside was a guy with a white hard hat. I thought, man, we're in trouble now. He rolls down the window. I'm thinking, this is not going to be good. He leans over and says, hey, he says, when you guys are finished down here, go to the tower. We got some brand new hats in you can buy. Okay. This is a shot that me and Mike Delvecchio lit up during the Garden State in '88 convention. Mike took a bunch of flash bulbs down to the tower, Hudson Tower, and I stayed up here with the M&E 16. And the only way you could communicate back then was yell something. Mike, ready? And yeah, he's ready. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. So he see my first flash bulb from the locomotive. He started lighting up the tower. And that was the result of that night. Here's the night session we did at Little Ferry on the Susquehanna. You can see the long exposure here has affected the star trails. That's how long the camera was open. Stars start to blur at about 30 or 40 seconds. So you can see this is longer than a 40-second exposure while we ran around and fired off bulbs individually. And of course, when you fire the bulb off, you eject it from the flash gun down to the ground. And then when you're done, you had to walk through the dark and try to find all of the burnt flash bulbs you used to get them off the property. This is in Dumontaine, outside of Montreal. That's your 5 line through Mount Royal. We were on the platform here with our flash guns, our tripods, getting set up, and this the train crew walks over to us, and the engineer said something in French. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak French. And his conductor says, oh, he wants to know if you need the train moved for your shot. I'm like, no, it's good where it is. This is in Lynn Creek Yard outside of Vancouver, British Columbia. For this shot here, we knew this engine was back in there, and we checked in at the yard office and asked the guy if he could go back and get some night shots. He said, sure. And we looked back and said, well, it's too bad the lights aren't on, but we'll do the shots anyhow. So we walked back into the yard, and all of a sudden the guy comes running up behind us. He has keys to the engine, and unlocks the engine, gives us a primer on how to work all the lights, the cab lights, the headlight, and everything else, and says, have fun. That's actually one of our group, one of our Railfan, posing as a trainman, conductor on the steps there. Bensonville, Illinois was a great place to take night photos. The old Milwaukee Road shops were located right on the side of a city street. This is actually standing on a public sidewalk. Used a little bit of flash to fill in the Sioux Line locomotive here with the Bensonville shop in the background. And this was the last night photo session that the NRHS did that used flash bulbs. This was at the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois. And for this shot here, they actually had everything synchronized. They ran a lot of wire. So all the flash guns were synchronized. It was like just open, poof, they all went off, and that was it. That was the last of the flash bulb night photo sessions at an NRHS convention now. In 1992, I went to my first night photo session that used electronic flash. This is at Bush Terminal in New York City. And Kermit Geary had purchased the first ever Lumidyne flash unit I had ever seen. Basically, it was a portable battery pack you put on your shoulder with a flash head. Worked the same as flash bulbs in the flash gun, but electronic. You still had to run around and do every single flash individually. Including this shot here where Kermit had to run behind the engine and throw a flash up at the smoke to backlight the smoke. So it took some time to do. And of course, you're running around in the dark, trying not to trip over rails or tie piles or things like that. This was a night photo we did on the Delaware Lackawanna. There were a couple of us here with electronic flashes, which sped things up. I think I had 3 people here, all with Lumidynes by this point. My job was to throw a flash on the nose of the locomotive, then run through the brambles there, go inside the tower, and pop the flash inside the tower to light things up inside. Interesting experience when it's pitch black out.
What tower?
This is at Goldsboro. For this shot here at the Danbury Railway Museum, this shot here, we were set up on the opposite side of a fairly busy road. The main road through Danbury. And we were waiting for a break in the traffic and waiting and never got it. Finally, one of the guys in the photo line says, "Hey, you got a cell phone?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Let me have it." Give him my cell phone. Come to find out, he's like the assistant chief of police. And within a few minutes, we had 2 police cars down here blocking the road off so we can get our shot. This was a night photo session at the Cass Scenic Railroad. This is with the electronic flash. No, sorry, this was spotlights. This is a little bit out of sequence here. Now that I see it on the screen here, we'll get to spotlights in a few minutes. But Cass has always been a spot where we do night photo sessions. This was a night photo session at the convention in Portland, Oregon. And it was in July. And in Portland, Oregon, in July, it doesn't get dark until real late. So this night photo session was actually scheduled to go from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And we used all 4 hours to light up things. We posed the daylight, the SPNS 700, and Doyle McCormick's PA for a variety of shots during the course of the evening. This was a shot we did on the Grand Canyon Railway. Once again, with electronic strobes. Mike Delvecchio put this one together as well. My job was to throw a flash on the nose of the locomotive, then scamper down the embankment down to the creek bed and throw a flash up to backlight the smoke and the steam. And I'm like, how am I going to scamper down this hillside in the dark without killing myself? Well, they had spotlights set up while I posed the engine, then they killed the spotlights for the night shot. When the lights went out, it was a full moon. And a full moon in Arizona is really bright. I had absolutely no problem seeing where I was going that night. This shot here is at the Secret City Scenic down in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And for this shot here, I had to light up the sides of the locomotives from the middle of the shot. And because I couldn't reach the middle parts of the scene from the sides. So I used a technique that Jim Boyd had used up in Steamtown several years earlier. I posed crewmen in the middle of the scene, and I just ran behind them and hid back behind them and threw the flash on the sides of the locomotives. If you look carefully, you can see me crouched down behind the conductor in the middle there. Where a little bit of the flash bounced back and caught my my shadow. And here's a night shot we did with the Erie E units, URHS night session, when they were on the Monmouth race trains. We posed them one night with the grandstand. I think they actually left the grandstand lights on a little extra for us after the races, so we could do this night shot. And we had a moon going overhead there too as well. And here's a bizarre shot we did at the Whippany Railway Museum. You gotta have some fun with this sometimes. This shot here is at Juniata Terminal in Philadelphia, Bennett Levin's Pennsylvania E8s. This is in 2000. This is significant for one reason. This was the very first night photo event I did where somebody in the group had a digital camera. For the first time ever, we didn't have to guess anymore if you're getting the shot right or not. You had instant feedback. We could tell if you had any dark spots, any hot glare spots. It was the first time ever we weren't just guessing what was going on and waiting for the slides to come back and see what we got. And of course, this was the famous night photo at the M&E shops on New Year's Eve, 1994, I believe it was, 93 into 94, that Mike set up. And for this shot here, because we had the fireworks, what we did was, using extension cords, we, 4 or 5 of us provided the Lumidyne electronic flashes. We strung them all together so they were synchronized. Now they weren't synchronized to anybody's camera, so it was like 3, 2, 1, open, poof, and we closed the cameras. That allowed us to freeze the fireworks in the background.
They were on a parking deck. The fireworks.
Where's where they were fired from?
Yeah.
Yeah. The next big thing that happened though was we discovered alien bees. Those are studio strobe lights. And they're radio controlled. And you can fire off any number of bees all at once. So you buy 3 or 4 of the alien bees, and all of a sudden there's no more running around in the dark firing off individual flashes. You got the radio control on your camera, push the trigger, poof. For the first time, we were doing handheld night photography because the flashes, the sync speed on your on cameras is about 1/250th for strobes. So we were able to do night shots without running around in the dark. This is one we did up at Steamtown with the 759. We used commercial smoke bombs to provide the steam here.
Hank Weber?
That's Joe Adam. And of course, same thing with the alien bee strobes. This is another Steamtown night photo session. Once again, we use smoke bombs to produce the steam. The fellow on the front there is Nick Hovey. He's big into steam preservation. It was his job between each shot to scamper up to the top of the locomotive, drop a smoke bomb into the smokestack, scamper back down again and pose for the shot in the rain. This shot here, or one of the shots from this session, is the official Steamtown National Park Service collector's stamp. Here's a shot I did down in Clarksdale, Mississippi, on the revived Rock Island. One thing with the alien bees, because the strobes fire so fast, in the past with the open flash, we were running around and it took 30 or 40 seconds. You had to have a pretty dark sky before you even start. With the strobes, because with the bees, because you're shooting at 1/250th of a second, you can start before the sun's fully down. This is you can see the sunset glow still in the background here.
A 4-hour session.
No. This is up at the Cooperstown and Charlotte Valley up in New York State, Milford, New York. The dots you see, that's rain. The strobes don't like rain. But we carry the recycling bags like you see on NJ transit platforms in the clear trash cans with the clear bags in them. We use those recycling bags to throw them over the strobes to keep the moisture off of them, hopefully. Here's a shot we did with the 4449 at Tacoma Rail Link up in Tacoma, Washington. This is part of an NRHS convention, the Spokane convention, excuse me, the Seattle convention. And Tacoma Rail invited us in to do the shot there. What we didn't count on was, and it was really nice of them, Tacoma Rail, once we were there and set up, invited us to go up onto the tower steps and shoot down on the scene. That was kind of cool. We didn't ask, they offered. That was pretty nice of them. For this shot here, this is on the Tavares Eustis Gulf, the orange blossom cannonball that ran out of Tavares, Florida for a while. There's one spot where the railroad actually goes to the middle of a traffic circle. So I asked the railroad, I said, hey, can we do a nice shot in the middle of the traffic circle? I said, well, let's get a hold of the police. So they call the town police and explain when to do a shot in the traffic circle. The town police said, well, we have no jurisdiction there. Call the state police. Okay, call the state police. Ask them. They're like, we don't think we have jurisdiction there, but we're kind of curious. We're gonna come down and watch. So we had the cop cars come down and watch. They didn't do anything to block traffic. We had to have volunteers do that ourselves, but we did get the shot in the middle of the circle that night. Sometimes you don't need the flash. Sometimes just turn the flashes off and see what you can get, especially with digital photography, where you don't need to guess exposures anymore. This is a 13-second exposure on the Heber Valley out in Utah, which you also lit up conventionally using the strobes. But just to play around, I did a long exposure, which also brought a few of the stars out in the scene. Once again, night photo session up in White River Junction, Vermont. Pan Am's business train was there. We lit the scene up with strobes, but in between shots, I did a long exposure without any strobes, just to see what I would get. I kind of like the way this turned out. And back up at Conklin Yard. I lit this up with strobes, but I also did this shot here, a long exposure off a tripod without using the strobes. One trip back when you could still get into Conklin without getting in trouble. I was up at Conklin Yard 3 in the morning doing night shots, and guy comes out of the office and he says, do you need my truck moved out of the way for your shots? I'm like, no, we're good, we're good. So with digital photography, it's kind of cool. You can you see something neat, you can just grab a shot of it. I saw these tank cars in Crescent, Pennsylvania one night. Liked the way it looked with the moon coming through the clouds, and just did the shot. No strobes, just what was there. So back in the old days, if you wanted a shot of a moving train at night, the best you could do, unless you wanted to spend a lot of money on flash bulbs and run miles of wire and had a lot of flash guns, the best you could do was these street shots. Here we see the Amtrak's Cardinal going away here through the semaphores in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Back then, night shots of the semaphores of the train, that's all you could do. Here we see a time exposure of a moving train going past the water tank in Lusk, Nebraska. This is a long night. Now, the long exposure lets you get the stars in the scene, things like that. But now with the high ISOs of modern digital cameras, plus the strobe lights, we can now do things like freeze moving trains in the scene. Same location, different setup. This is with strobes. So this is my very first attempt at a night photo using my strobes. I had picked up my strobes. I was heading out to Michigan or something for a train show or something. I stopped in Nova, Ohio at the old tower in Nova. And I set up my lights. I didn't know which way a train was going to come from. So I set them up so so if I heard a train in either direction, I could just swing the flash heads around and shoot either way. So I'm all set up and I hear horns to the west. I hear horns to the east. Like, oh, okay. Who's gonna get here first? Horns to the west, horns to the east, getting closer, getting closer. So finally I said, okay, no matter what, I'm gonna go for the eastbound shot with the tower in the photo. So my eastbound's coming, I hear the westbound behind me. Eastbound gets into the shot, I push the trigger, poof, off goes the strobes. I look at the back of the camera, I got both trains moving at 40 miles an hour going by each other. My first attempt at a night shot. I had my scanner on and I heard the train crews talking about the flashes going off. And one of the crews said, yeah, we gotta go back and do it again. My eyes were closed. Now, one of the questions I always get is, do train crews mind being flashed at night? The short answer is, actually, it's a long answer. 80% of them could care less. The strobes are actually more surprising than they are bright. What's doing the heavy lifting is the ISOs of modern digital cameras. In fact, what took Winston Link 60 flash bulbs at ISO 12 to shoot, I can light up with 3 strobes. And each strobe is a little less powerful than one of Link's number 2 flash bulbs. So you got the 80% of the crews who don't care. Of the remaining 20%, they're split about half and half. 10% love it. They have absolutely no problem with it. The other 10% are grumpy, but they're usually the crews that are grumpy about everything anyhow. What we do is, because the strobes recycle real fast, is when the train comes into sight, we'll give several heads-up flashes. Fire the flashes several times. They'll see them down the tracks, so the crew knows we're there and they know what to expect. And most crews at this point have seen enough night photography going on. They know what's going on. This is at Nelson, Illinois. This is also on my first trip with my new strobes. I had purchased 4 flashes and 2 batteries. And because I had 2 batteries and 4 flashes, I also purchased a lot of extension cords. And I got to Nelson, I'm setting up and my cords are tangled. I couldn't get the cords untangled. About 10 o'clock at night, train goes by, I miss it because my cords are I couldn't get my cords untangled fast enough. So I wound up waiting until 2 in the morning, 4 more hours to get this shot here. I immediately went out and bought more batteries after this trip. Didn't want to deal with cords anymore. This is the Amtrak's Cardinal. This is also that very first trip with the strobes. This is the Amtrak's Cardinal at Crawfordsville, Indiana. For this shot here, the train came around a curve. As soon as it came into sight, I fired off the heads-up flashes. And immediately, I got 2 toots back from the engine. I said, this guy knows what's going on, no problem. And I got the shot. Here's a shot I did at Fort Spring, West Virginia. You can see one flash down by the signal bridge, lighting up the tunnel portal. Sometimes you just can't hide all the flashes. Sometimes they're out in the middle of the scene. This shot here at Doswell, Virginia, of a southbound Amtrak train. I took this shot, and about a year later, I got an email from an engineer from Amtrak. And the email said that he was the engineer on the train that night. He remembers the flashes going off. And as he cruised by, he thought, oh, wow, that's cool. It's like, oh, Winston Link. And he said he was really, really glad that he found the shot online and could get a hold of me to tell me about it. So this shot here, this is at Newcastle, California, on the approaches up the Donner Pass out of Sacramento. Train's going away here, it's pushing. And we were setting up our lights at the tunnel here, and local cop pulls up. And then usual questions, you work for the railroad? No. Got permission to be here? No, it's posted. So he takes our IDs, starts, says, I said to him, look, I said, we know which way the train's coming from. We should know which track it's going to be on. There are signals behind us. They'll light up if anything's coming in the direction to give us warning. I said, our philosophy is if we can't do it safely, we don't do it. So the cop handed us back our IDs. And he said, well, your check hasn't come back yet. He said, but I don't want to get in your way. He said, have fun, be safe, and he took off. This is at the famous Jessup Railfan platform down in Georgia. This shot here is actually a pusher on the Pocahontas district down in West Virginia. Like I said, some crews are pretty enthusiastic about this. This is actually the pusher going away into the tunnel. But we knew it was a manned pusher, so we did the usual heads up flashes as the pusher came into sight. The guy saw the heads up flashes. He turned on the headlight and ditch lights and waved. So it looked like a train was coming out of the tunnel at us. So it was pretty nice of him. This shot here is on the line down to Deepwater, New Jersey, down South Jersey. Ethanol train coming out of Pure Land at Bridgeport. He crossed the bridge. We fired the flashes. Train comes to a stop and the conductor gets off. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Comes up to us and says, you got any cigarettes? I'm like, no. He says, I could use a smoke. I said, tell you what, I said, we want to get a second shot tonight in Woodbury. If you guys drag your heels, get in the Woodbury, we'll meet you there with cigarettes. He agreed. We ran to Wawa, grabbed some cigarettes, took off the Woodbury, got set up, and there he is on the steps waiting to get his cigarettes at the Woodbury shot. This is a shot that was taken at a location, Winston Link shot, Hawksbill Creek in Luray, Virginia. Now Link shot from the other side of the bridge, but still it was kind of cool to get a shot at a place that Link had shot at. Down the middle of the street in Midway, Kentucky, R.J. Corman's Kentucky Lines. And this is the old Atlantic Coastline Station in Lakeland, Florida. The head house was off to the right, torn down. Station was abandoned for a new facility about a mile away. CSX train going through Lakeland. And this is a street running in Augusta, Georgia. The dots you see above the tree, that's bugs. That's not rain. This shot here is in Albany, Georgia. And I thought it was a Norfolk Southern branch. But I heard that trains came down the street at about 11 o'clock at night, every night. So we set up our strobes. I saw a cop car, I flagged him down because I figured he would know. I said, hey, trains actually come by here at night? He goes, yeah, it's just train every night. I said, great, no problem. So I thought it was a Norfolk Southern branch line. So the headlight comes up through the darkness, gets into the scene. I pop the flashes off, look at the back of my camera. It's an orange engine. I did not expect that. Come to find out, I accidentally discovered the Hilton and Albany Railroad. And this is in Abingdon, Virginia, on the Shenandoah line, Norfolk Southern's line. Depot there. And the house on the right is the former section man's house, built by the railroad for the living quarters for the person assigned that section of track. I believe it's now a bed and breakfast. This is the famous Union Baptist Church in Dance, Virginia, on the old Clinch Field. Here we see CSX's business train going by the church. And this is outside of South Bend, Michigan City, Indiana, on the old Michigan Central, one of Amtrak's Michigan service trains going underneath underneath the old steam era coaling tower. LaGrange, Kentucky. The tracks went down the middle of the street there. I decided one night I was just going to camp out in the middle of LaGrange. I parked on the main street, saw a cop, said, "Hey, is there any parking restrictions for overnight here on the main street?" He goes, "No." I said, "Great." So I set up my strobes, but I didn't deploy them. I set them up, left them by the car, and tried to sleep on the front seat of the car. What was good about this is that I had the scanner on, and you're in the middle of nowhere. So the only thing you're going to hear on the scanner is a train calling signals as it gets closer to you. And at the end of town was a signal. So what I would do is I would just sleep until the scanner went off, woke me up, look at the signal. If it was red, that meant I had an eastbound coming at me, or westbound coming at me. If it was green, it meant I had a eastbound coming. So I could, and the scanner gave me about 15-20 minutes notice. I get the lights set up, get everything going, and get the shot. Did that all night long, got about 6 trains at night. Oops. And Port Jervis, New York, Metro North train coming in by the old Erie Depot. This shot here, Lock 10 on the Mohawk River up in New York State. I thought there's absolutely no way my strobes are going to be able to throw flash far enough to light up the far bank. I set them up, did a test shot, looked at the back of the camera like, wow, I can see trees and stuff. So I set up for the Lakeshore Limited going by. The hard part here was I had to throw a ton of flash across the river to light up the train, but I didn't want to blow out the all-white blockhouse there. So it took a little bit of setting up, so my flash was just barely spilling onto the lock, while still throwing plenty of flash across the river. And this is the tunnel underneath downtown Bellows Falls, Vermont. Train coming south from underneath the town. And out on Route 66, my battery is running low.
I'll record. Brief intermission.
We're out on Route 66 here at the famous Jack Rabbit Trading Post. Here it is. Once again, I couldn't find a good place to put up a strobe out of the scene. So I got a strobe pretty much dead center of the photo there, with my hat sort of trying to disguise it rather unsuccessfully. All right, we have power back to the PC now. So on we go. This is at Mance, Pennsylvania on Sandpatch Grade. The old Mance post office, which is now privately owned and is used as somebody's cabin. Back at LaGrange again, another shot from the street running there. CSX has threatened to take the street running out of LaGrange because the trains got to slow down to 10 miles an hour to go through town. But the town actually does not want the tracks removed from the street. As it turns out, the street running brings in enough rail fans that it affects the town's economy. And the restaurants and the motels all enjoy having the rail fans come in to shoot the street running here, so, for now, the street running stays. This is the, Toe River Baptist Church on the Clinchfield, Huntsdale, South Carolina. Back when Clinchfield 800 was restored for use on the, 75th Clinchfield Santa Claus train. Once again, the dots, you see that's rain coming down. Speaking of rain, here we are in Phillipsburg, going by PU Tower. If you look carefully, it's pouring rain, so we use the bridge to keep ourselves dry. But you can see the rain coming down off the bridge there in the shot. The reason we were here and wound up spending all night here, not intentionally, was because we wanted to get the Union Pacific business train that had come in from the west. It was heading back west again. And Bristol, Tennessee, or Virginia. Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia. It's a good place to live, apparently. I am standing straddling both states here, the state lines down the middle of State Street, with a southbound train coming out of the station in Bristol. And of course, Barrett's Farm up in Milford, New York. This is the location where O. Winston Link shot his very last night photo. He did it as a contract job for Railfan magazine in the late 1970s, early 1980s. This shot here, this is at Terminal Tower in Atlanta. I had shot the train that's in the foreground, shot the engine's going by the tower. He's going from left to right. I saw this headlight coming from behind the train, going from right to left. So I quickly repositioned some of the strobes, just swiveled them on the stands, ran to this spot here, guessed, pushed the trigger, and somehow I managed to catch the locomotive in between the stack, the containers here, with the tower in the background. The big white building in the background used to all be Southern Railway offices. Another O. Winston Lynch scene, Rural Retreat, Virginia. And this is out in Nevada, just outside of Reno. The highway bridge is the oldest highway bridge in use in the state. And that's Amtrak's very late. Let me see. Yes, California Zephyr, which usually goes by here at like 11 in the morning. And Wauseon, Ohio, one of Amtrak's 50th anniversary engines going by the depot there. We were setting up for a night shot down at the Tennessee Valley Railway Museum in Chattanooga of locomotive number 80. And Norfolk Southern runs on an adjacent bridge. And while we were setting up, I heard a Norfolk Southern train going by. So I just said, what the heck? I fired the strobes off while we're still setting up, and actually caught the NS train in the background. And back in South Jersey again, Norfolk Southern's Wabash Heritage Unit bringing a coal train out of the Deepwater Generating Station at the base of the Delaware Memorial Bridge, heading back north again. One of the cool things of late is a lot of steam railroads are running at night now, especially around Christmas time. Here we see Black River and Western number 60 going past the old Hunterdon concrete place outside of Flemington. Also on the Black River and Western at Copper Hill Bridge. And at Steam in the History, now the Northern Central Railway out of New Freedom, Pennsylvania, with their brand new 1860s 440. Wilmington and Western, They're 060 number 58 crossing the steel bridge in Ashland, Delaware. I set up two strobes here for this shot here, but only one strobe went off. The strobe on the far side, on the left side. And actually, I like the way it turned out better than if both had gone off. It gave some nice shadow on the right side. And Strasburg Railroad, at the Pumpkinville Turnpike Bridge near Paradise. Canadian National 260 number 89 on a Santa Claus train. The strobes have let us do some interesting things. We can set up strobes like inside of this diner with a Lowell streetcar outside at Lowell National Historic Site up in Massachusetts. Also, I could do self-portraits with the strobes. I set up the strobes, set the camera on a timer for about 10 seconds, push the trigger, run into the scene, grab my cigar, light it up, and do a self-portrait. It's at Prince, West Virginia. Sometimes, though, you still want to do time lapses, even with the strobes. You put the strobes away and just do a time lapse. This is a 13-minute exposure at the Tehachapi Loop. And I can show you folks who are here in person, I can show you on the screen. I have to try to describe it for the folks out there in YouTube land. The streak going diagonally from the lower left down, that's a truck on a dirt road. Ignore that. And the red and white streaks on the going from the right across the middle of the frame, that's the highway. Ignore those. The dots of light off in the distance, that's where I first saw the train coming. It came through, went around behind the hill, came out from tunnel 9, which is down in the left center of the picture, went around the loop past the lit tree there, behind the knoll, off to the left, and then made a big loop, then came back down across in front of me, left to right, across the lower part of the frame here, 13-minute exposure. You see the stars, how they blurred over the 13 minutes. Another streak of light shots at Crawford Hill in Nebraska, about an 8-minute exposure, starting with the head end lit up these trains going away here. The head end lit up the signals, and then got the streaks of the headlight and the cab lights, and then the rear of the train going by. This is the now gone 6th Street Viaduct in Los Angeles, over the Los Angeles River. I knew this bridge was going to be torn down, and the only way to get a shot here was to get a streak shot. So the streaks down in the lower part of the frame, that's a Metrolink train heading into Los Angeles Union Station. The newest thing going on now is instead of using strobes, using fixed lighting. The fixed lighting, which is constantly on, started out by using lots and lots and lots of fluorescent bulbs in huge reflectors. But now we're down to just small LED lights. And with the fixed lighting, you can actually do night shots handheld like this. You just require a tripod. Do handheld shots like this, and move around, get different angles all the time because the lights are always on. Another fixed light shot down at Cass. For this shot here, the across the river in East Cass or West Cass, whichever direction that is. Apparently the bar was having a very good time that night, and some of the locals were shooting off fireworks behind the bar. Well, the fireworks just happened to line up with our night shot over at the depot. So we got the fireworks shot that night. And with the fixed lighting, you can do cool things now, like fly your drone and do a night shot looking down. Once again, we're at Cass. And the fixed lights work well with fireworks. I used just 2 small video fixed lights to light up number 58 here on the Wilmington and Western. This is in Hockessin, Delaware. And with the fixed lighting going, you can wait for the fireworks to get just right over the engine and fire off a shot. Once again, handheld, using fairly normal shutter speeds. The fixed lighting has also allowed us to do a lot of things like portrait shots. The fixed lights, you can tell, you can set them up and watch how the shadows are reacting and really get some nice moody stuff. This is at the Steam Railroad Institute in Owasso, Michigan. This is inside of a coach at the Virginia Museum of Transportation down in Roanoke. We have an actor posing as a Pullman porter. The N&W 1218 outside the window. Once again, all fixed lighting. Inside the turntable house at the Steam Railroad Institute up in Owasso again. Doyle McCormick with a 4449 in Portland, Oregon. And this is up on the Wiscasset, Waterville, and Farmington main 2-footer in Wiscasset, Maine. Sometimes, though, you don't need strobes. Just use the lights available. Here we are on the Three Rivers Rambler in Knoxville, Tennessee. Just using the light from the firebox and the lantern to light up the fireman here, Chris Brang. And Kelly Lynch from the Fort Wayne group lighting up a lantern. High ISOs on modern cameras are a wonderful thing. And here's Santa Claus on the Woodstown Central down in South Jersey. Once again, just the existing light. Still with existing light only. This is the Denver Union Station out in Colorado. Something you could never do with film. The moon setting over the Everett Railroad. Before daybreak. And this is once again another handheld shot, just using the high ISO of today's modern digital cameras on the Vermont Railway up in the Green Mountain State. And once again, we're on Woodstown Central in the rain, pouring rain. But this is what high ISOs allow you to do now. Wilmington and Western's Christmas lights train coming out of the station in Greenbank, Delaware. And the dieselized version of their holiday lights train going past the Falkland Woods replica station. And it even gets dark. You can still do stuff like this with the holiday train. Just using the lights of the train to light things up. Bad weather is a lot of fun now with these high ISOs. A train in the rain in Glendale, Ohio. And street running in St. Mary's, West Virginia. Once again, no strobes used here, just the lights from the street lights illuminating the scene here. This shot here I thought would never work. It was pitch black, pouring rain, Cumberland, Maryland, Frostburg, Maryland, actually. 1309, the big 2664 they run. 2662. Got up here at Frostburg, dark as any, oh, get out. And pouring rain. I thought this is stupid. I got out of the car anyhow and out into the rain with the camera. Cranked it up to ISO 10,000. Kind of aimed it towards what I thought what the engine was. Pushed the trigger and got that. Back in the old days, even on transit, we used strobes for the high ISO cameras became prevalent. This is on the Red Arrow division of SEPTA in Media, Pennsylvania. But now we can do traction stuff at night with no strobes, just using the modern wonders of digital cameras. Once again, we're in Media on Red Arrow. Anyhow, the high ISO cameras have opened up a whole new world of night photography on transit systems. This is the Cincinnati connector. Tacoma Link in Tacoma, Washington, with Union Station in the background. Up in Toronto on Bathurst Street Bridge, one of the new Flexity vehicles. And in St. Paul, Minnesota, a Hiawatha train going past the state capitol building. And the Mattapan line up in Boston, PCC car, once again, just existing light, handheld. Kansas City, KC streetcar. And in Houston, the Houston light rail system, a couple of shots from that, and one here from the parking deck. And they have about a block of running where the light rail trains go over a like a water fixture in the ground there. It's kind of cool. And Temple Square in Salt Lake City, Utah Tracks train going by the Mormon Temple. And back on SEPTA, on the media line, the Trolley Stop Motel. They have the best rates, by the way. I'm not sure if they got the best rooms, but they got the best rates. And when the weather gets really crappy, you get some really neat stuff. Once again, we're on the on SEPTA. This is on the Sharon Hill line. And the last night of PCC operations on Girard Avenue, back in 2020. If you're going to shoot in Philadelphia, might as well get a cheesesteak place in the background. And Portland, go by streetcar. My other passion of photography besides trains is neon. So if I get neon and trains together, I'm happy. Milwaukee Public Market, the Hop in Wisconsin. And the Elephant Car Wash in Tacoma. Nice piece of neon here. And in Portland, the Palms Motel. And in Salt Lake City, the old Union Pacific Depot has a large UP shield and neon on it. Other stuff you can do with high ISO digital cameras these days at night. Scenes like this of a SEPTA trolley operator waiting to make a right-hand turn. Sometimes you just need a little bit of fill flash. With the high ISO cameras, the shutter speeds are fast, so you can shoot at twilight without blowing the sky out. What you do is you expose for the sky. Flashes are adjustable power, so you can adjust the power to balance things out. This is an Amtrak train crossing over Conestoga Creek outside of Lancaster on Amtrak's Harrisburg service. For this shot here in downtown Wilmington, Delaware, to get the Coca-Cola unit, I had to expose for the city lights. So I needed a high ISO, real high ISO, to get the city lights to show up in the frame. That meant I had to really back off on the flash. So I used one single flash set at like just a tiny bit, like an eighth power, just to throw out some photons. All you need to do is get some photons on these things. And you can to make them work with digital photography. This shot here in Huntsville, Alabama, I had to expose for the Saturn V rocket, then adjust the flashes so that once again, backing way off on the power because I was using a huge ISO to capture the rocket in the background to get these two together. And for this shot here at the Golden Triangle in Pittsburgh, I wanted to get the Duquesne incline coming up. When it got dark enough to get the city lights going, though, the incline, there's no light on it. It was completely black. Like, now what do? I didn't have my strobes with me. So what I did was I just popped up my onboard camera flash and fired it, and I fired the shot. And put just enough light out there to capture the incline. Once again, this is at the Project 113 up in Minersville, Pennsylvania. We exposed for the sparks from the work being done here, and a single flash off to the far right, shooting across the smoke box for the 113 to give it some depth. This shot here, I wanted to get the Christmas lights on the B&O holly tree at Jackson Station near Perryville, Maryland. Once again, a real low ISO for the train, for the flashes. High ISO for the lights, real low strobe setting on the flashes. Get this shot here. And the Donaldson Bowl outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Once again, exposing for the neon and then adjusting the flash power accordingly. As I got more used to the night photography thing, I started getting a little more creative with the lighting. When you start off, you just light everything 3/4 because it's the safest thing to do. It's the most predictable way to do it. This shot here got a little bit fancier. This is down in Fort Payne, Alabama. I didn't light it up 3/4. I just put a light shooting across to light the building on the right and get a little bit of the nose of the train. There's a flash in the shot, lighting up the water tank in the background. But I'm getting away now from the straightforward 3/4 lighting and doing something that makes it look a little more natural, a little more like it's a night shot. This shot here at Stanton Station, I had one strobe off to the left, down by that first auto rack, shooting back towards me, put glint on the side, and another strobe off in the trees on the right-hand side, actually shooting through the leaves to filter the light a little bit. The darker nose accentuates the ditch lights, headlight, and number boards a little bit. Same thing here. This is with the Toys for Tots train at Fort Murray. No direct light on the nose. You can see the strobe behind the station shooting back to give some light down the flank. A little bit of flash on the station lighted up, and I had a flash behind the locomotives, light up the trees to give it some depth. And this is at Three Bridges. Same thing. I fired the camera a little too soon. The train was supposed to block the strobe in the background there, but I caught it. That was supposed to give some backlighting and light up the station from the back. And some glint lighting down the side. And this is Sewell Station in South Jersey. A flash setup on the left, just skinning the side of the station to give it some light and shadow. Once again, no light on the nose. And this is in Glendale, Ohio. This shot here, I used mostly existing light. One flash, you can see it off on the left-hand side there, shooting back towards me to get some glint light on the side of the train. But everything else is existing light there. You can do the same thing with steam. Here we have a shot of Strasbourg. Once again, no light on the nose, light from the far right, shooting back sort of across, and then light on the left on the side. Same thing with number 89 at Groundhog Cut in Strasbourg. This time I put just a tad of light on the nose, but the vast majority of the light is coming from behind the train, looking forward to give it a more glinty look. So anyhow, that's how sort of my journey through night photos. And of course, we owe it all to the inspiration of O. Winston Link, who was the first and the greatest of them all. At East Broad Top last October, we did a tribute to O. Winston Link. Pete Laro actually set up a drive-in theater in the East Broad Top parking lot. Brought in vintage cars. Number 16 of the EBT stood in for the Y-class locomotive on Norfolk and Western and Link's photo. And we did a tribute to O. Winston Link, who really got us started on this journey. So that wraps it up, folks. So that's how I've sort of evolved in my night photography over the years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? Cool. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Was the Three Bridges in New Jersey?
Three Bridges, yeah.
Yeah, it's outside of Flemington.
Yeah, privately owned now, and it's being restored.
What the,
Three Bridges Station.
yeah.
Thank you. Very nice show.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
What did we miss?
All right, thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you, Steve, for your wonderful presentation. We will be back on the second Thursday in May for a look at the Ontario and Western. Thank you and good night.
No, he's been there for years.
Where you're-